Hi, everybody. I'm going to give a brief introduction and some handy tips for using this lesson. Let me share my screen. Planning home electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. In this project, students are going to learn about electrical safety, laws and regulations, electrical components, and measuring and calculating electrical usage. So there's 3 activities, and they include presentation slides, a worksheet, a scavenger hunt worksheet, and a final culminating project where students will plan an installation. Okay, we'll start with this first activity is meant to be a discussion. So there's some slides there with speaker's notes. You could also print the speaker's notes off on the side in a separate doc. Just remember that not all students live in a detached home. Some might be in a rental unit or a condo or even a foster home, right? So be inclusive. I'm going to pull up the student copy. So after you give the presentation, the students are going to go through this copy with all the information on it and answer some questions on a worksheet. I would just like to give an example. Maybe the most complicated part is when you're talking about the thickness of wire that goes from the electrical panel to the receptacles. That's, you're talking about the gauge of the conductor. Okay, so the gauge is the thickness. The lower the number, the actual thicker it is. So typically you have 14 gauge in your house, but if you have, let's say, a dryer or something that takes more electricity, you would typically go to a 12 gauge. So if you look at the chart there, you got how far away it is from the panel and how much electricity is going to it. That determines the thickness of the wire. Okay, so next would be the scavenger hunt worksheet. So this you could print out. They can go into the shop either solo or as groups, and you might want to keep the power off to all the machines. So they're going to look at the equipment, and every piece of equipment has an electrical plate on it that says the amount of volts and amps that it takes. So let's say you have lathe, how many volts, how many amps, how far is it away from the panel? And you can add 15 feet because you're going to go above or below ground. Then from there, you can calculate the amount of electricity usage. They would have done this on the previous worksheet. So you take the volts and multiply by the amps, that gives you the wattage. Take the watt, divide it by 1,000, you got the kilowatts. Then you can determine the cost of electricity. Then we have the third section is to determine the electrical component. So wire gauge thickness, what type of breaker does it need, and receptacle. Part 3 is the actual culminating project. So this will be posted for students. It's broken down into 4 sections. The 5th one is if you have the facilities for wiring, you can go ahead and wire it up. Students need to be reminded this is not an actual plan. Here we have lots of nice resources to use. You can use it as a discussion or a minds-on as well. Students will determine how far they're going to be driving from work, and then they're going to choose an electrical vehicle, a charger. So just quickly, there's 3 different charger types. The third one would be more commercial. It's a high voltage. First one is low voltage, and the issue with that is it might not actually charge the car in time for work in the next day. So they're going to compare a level 1 and a level 2 and see which one is economical for them. After that, they're going to determine whether the existing infrastructure is up to date or needs a new electrical panel. So old electrical panels could be 100 amp capacity, newer ones more around 200 amp. So if you use a level 2 charger, chances are 100 amp is not enough capacity. Okay, and then there's the rubric there so you can see how well they're doing. Thanks for watching.